see your name,
Oh, wow. Okay.
your signature. You speak English?
I don't know English. I don't know.
No.
This passenger's bags were x-rayed by quarantine. They found a stash of cash which had been deliberately hidden. Now customs is interested in him.
He's got a nice concealment there aboard, and it's been put on the bottom of his bag. So we'll probably get. I'll ring Oscar 1 and get him to sort that out because it's actual concealment. And we'll probably body frisk him. But I'm Yankee 2 Charlie if you need him.
While one officer does a background check, another continues the search of the bag.
This is a possible concealment of currency. It may be in excess of the $10,000 cash. 3,000 US, Aussie. We've got a lot of US dollars here.
We'll put the things back here, this bag. Okay, make sure nothing's there.
Attention all enforcement officers. Anyone in the vicinity of a Mandarin-speaking officer, Yankee 2 Charlie.
You got any more money inside? Cash? No, not at all? Dollars? Chinese?
Officers believe this man is hiding something. Their radar is up and routine checks are turning into something more.
How to open this one, sir? How to open?
再放录像带 ，OK。
我随便打 about $3,000.
3000左右，我记不准了。
Officers try to work out just how much money is in the concealed wallet.
Can you get a conversion rate? Work out the conversion rate for the US dollars first.
不超过5000。
While the counting continues, there is another fear.
I'm concerned there's stuff on his body.
Yeah, what happened is...
We'll get to that. Now you asked him if he had anything on his body. He said no, didn't you?
No.
He said no?
No.
Oh, you haven't asked him?
He said no.
Yeah, no, he's definitely got something.
In the Northern Territory, crew from the Customs Marine Unit has just raised anchor from their Darwin Naval Base.
Anchor secure.
Roger that, thank you. Stand down.
The high-tech vessel is sailing off to take part in an operation, hoping to apprehend illegal Indonesian fishing boats poaching in our waters.
Just the high centre forward tank
This
level.
operation is a combined effort between several agencies. They are hoping to catch boats illegally fishing in Australian waters.
I guess what we're talking about is a fairly well-organised, sophisticated operation. There are about 14 more boats still there.
That's not to say that we won't react to any other threats to the border while we're out there. On this occasion, we're actually operating closely with the Navy vessels that also operate out of Darwin, and we're targeting specifically illegal fishing.
With reports of larger than usual numbers of boats out there, they are ready for anything.
What I want to do is, do you want to take a photo of this?
Passenger Lee has arrived in the country with cash hidden in his bags.
In the very bottom of it, underneath there was a wallet, and as you can see it's all taped up. So we're concerned that it might be over the $10,000 limit of cash that you can bring into Australia.
The amount of undeclared cash allowed into the country is $10,000. Officers think Mr. Lee might be hiding more.
We're also concerned that there may be a concealment on his body. He was asked by a Chinese-speaking officer if he had anything on his body, and there's quite significant bulges in his jacket.
Information has come back that they are dealing with a Chinese national who's an ex-policeman. Jono now wants a further chat with the passenger.
Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to take him to a room to get an interpreter.
An ex-cop, Passenger Lee has learnt some tricks and he knows the law. Mr. Lee is now refusing a frisk search.
So he's refused
He's refused that.
He's refused external.
Well, then I've said that it's going to be upgraded.
When a passenger refuses a frisk search, customs officers consult a justice of the peace who acts as a mediator.
I'm going to detain him for the purpose of an external search. He can maintain his rights, but if the justice of peace orders it and he still refuses, force will be used. Reasonable force will be used to remove his clothing.
Every day, hundreds of thousands of parcels are couriered all over the world. Most will pass through a customs inspection without a problem. Some won't. In Sydney, customs officers Lewis and Jane are investigating a suspect package.
We have teams that are at the courier depots and they x-ray cargo coming into the country, and while they were x-raying the cargo, it was sighted on the screen there. He was quite sure that there was something inside the package.
The documentation with the package says that it's been sent from England and is headed for an address in Sydney's west. It seems to be a coffee maker, but the X-ray is showing something organic inside the maker.
You want to stand it up? I want to get a second image of it.
And nothing organic has been declared.
Ah, beautiful, look at that. So that's a very good image, that one.
It may turn out to be something as innocent as coffee beans, but this package will need to be opened. About 250 nautical miles out of Darwin, the Morning Watch on Corio Bay have spotted a small vessel on their radar.
Pen ready there. We have a green coach house. We've identified it as an Indonesian Type 3 fishing vessel. From experience there, it's just a small shark fin boat.
As Craig gets the boat into position, the 6-man boarding party prepare to approach.
Yeah, roger, likewise, mate. Boarding party's been briefed and we'll be ready to go in a couple of minutes on your call, over.
This is potentially very dangerous. Right now, officers aren't sure what they might be confronted with. United Airlines Flight 863 from San Francisco has just landed, but one US passenger is yet to cross the border.
The situation is we have an American couple, reasonably elderly, arrived in Australia. The wife has her passport and has been immigration cleared, but the husband can't find his passport.
Glade has been refused entry until he or his wife can find the missing passport.
Your husband has lost his passport? Yes. I'm trying to take a seat over here and we'll sit down and have a look.
Flight 811, carousel 2.
Check everything. He's looked through all his bags and all of the cabin luggage that you've had, and he can't find it anywhere. Now that's definitely yours?
This is where I keep my passport.
Okay. I've contacted the airline staff and they're going to have a look on the plane.
It's a legal requirement that you have a passport in order to be able to come through, because you have to be able to present satisfactory evidence of identity. He's unable to do that at the moment, so we have to be a little bit constructive about what we're going to do with this guy, or he's going to have to go all the way back to the States today. So I've got to ring the consul, see if they can confirm who he is.
Passenger Glade also has a new concern about his financial security.
They can use that to try to get into my bank accounts, I guess.
And without his passport, Glade could be turned back. His only hope of entry is for the United States consul to confirm his identity. By law, customs are allowed to open any package they suspect of carrying something illegal into the country. It's not a responsibility they take lightly.
So it's in the base. All I have to do is get it out, get access to that base, see if we can get the itomizer swab onto it, and we should get something positive out of it.
Well, it looked very
it's
good
like
on the
unwrapping a
imaging.
present without tearing the paper.
Just have to make sure these tapes go back as close as possible to original, so it doesn't look like it's been tampered with too badly.
If the package is carrying something illegal, the federal police may decide to set up a controlled delivery to catch the smugglers red-handed. But to do that, the package must appear untouched.
Was it just going to a personal residence or a business address?
Personal residence, but yeah, looks a bit dodgy anyway.
That's it. And it's a sunbeam.
Right, what I might try and do is see if we can get a swab all the way around this area here, see if we can pick up some particles. And just under the best chances around where the cracks are and where those holes are there.
Alrighty, just going to run this through and see if it has picked up any traces of narcotics. And as you can see on this, we've had a drugs detection for cocaine, which by that is quite a high reading.
Passenger Lee arrived over 2 hours ago with a concealment of cash in his bags. Officers believe this ex-cop has more cash, but he's refusing a frisk search. As his family wait patiently for him, Mr. Lee isn't going anywhere.
Okay, what's happened so far is that we've wanted to do a frisk search on this passenger. He's refused to consent to the frisk search. So as part of that, the next step is he refuses, it gets upgraded to an external search. He has not agreed to an external search, so we get an independent witness in, which is Justice. So he comes in, he listens to our side of the story, listens to the passenger side of the story, and then he makes a decision whether the search will go ahead or not.
We've taken Mr. Lee down to a baggage barrier where he's been examined, bag examination by customs 100%. During that examination, an amount of currency was located in one of his bags. The currency appeared to be concealed within one of those bags.
Nerves are frayed and it's tiring for all involved. The passenger has now been at the airport for 5 hours and customs officers have been on shift for nearly 13. Neither party is willing to relent.
Okay, Mr. Zhao, I have in the room a passenger by the name of Songshi Lee. Can you just explain to him that we're going to start recording and everything that's said in this room from here on end is going to be on video and audio?
Immigration officers are still investigating 72-year-old Glade, who's lost his passport.
I thought I still had it in my bag somewhere and I hadn't gone through everything.
Okay, I have an American citizen here travelling with his wife to Australia for a cruise holiday. Unfortunately, what has happened is he's lost his passport en route, and when he presented at the immigration line today, he was unable to show us a passport.
Peter makes a plea to the US consul on behalf of the passenger.
And he's quite distressed at the fact that his passport... Well, the fact that his passport's lost, I think, is concerning him greatly. I have his passport details, though, because he, with great foresight, happened to have a photocopy of the front page.
All I've got is copies. But
you can tell her it's frustrating.
It is frustrating. They did remind me to make a few copies of my passport.
And that's just as well, because Peter's got some good news.
It's all sorted. I've just spoken to a lovely lady at your consul, and she's confirmed everything that I needed to know.
Well, I appreciate that very much.
Not a problem, sir.
Well, thank you very much again. I appreciate
it.
Glade's lost passport has been cancelled. He needs to get to the US consulate in Sydney as soon as possible so they can reissue him with a new passport. Meanwhile, on the waters north of Darwin, under the watchful eye of Skipper Craig and Superintendent Keith, the Corayo Bay boarding crew climb onto the Indonesian fishing boat.
They are in the process of conducting the investigative boarding. They'll be looking for evidence of fishing that's actually occurring right now, or recent evidence that fishing has occurred.
It's basic seafaring, and they seem to know just where they were headed.
All the crew are from the same island in Indonesia. They didn't have any documentation or anything like that, or any sophisticated navigation equipment. They just had a compass. They've already said they were after sharks. That's why they were here.
On board, fisheries officers have found out the boat was after highly valuable shark fin, and so far they have pulled up 3 lines with small sharks attached to them.
They all came up without bait on them, and probably about half a dozen sharks altogether. We just cut them off and released the ones that were alive, and the ones that were dead were just thrown back in the water.
250 nautical miles out to sea, and with bad weather ahead, Keith and Craig grapple with the best way to deal with the situation.
That's about all I got for you, mate. We'll sit and wait and to hear from you.
Roger, ready to copy out? Boarding party 50 going. We have had contact from our shore-based mock. Decision is that we are to apprehend the vessel and tow it to Gove. Over.
Yeah, roger, no problems. Once we finish hauling.
The 6-man Indonesian crew is brought on board the Corayo Bay.
We're just doing a security check, checking for anything that may be used as a weapon. Any knives, razors, any sharp objects, things like that.
For health and safety reasons, the men will stay here on the outer deck under 24-hour watch.
We keep them outside, they're not allowed inside the vessel, so we keep a quarantine area for the crew. And hopefully avoid any contracting any diseases.
The seas are 2 metres and rising. Bad weather is ahead and drastic action is needed. Customs vessel Corayo Bay is towing the Indonesian fishing boat to Gove. The line is dragging and officers have found the rickety vessel is filling up with water.
We can't put people back on it because it's too dangerous, it's not safe. We can't put him back on it or his crew. And if no one pumps, the boat's going to sink. Basically, what's happened is we've been approved to destroy the vessel. We're going out there now, we're going to lay some charges on it.
We want to get out of there before it goes up, obviously, and minimising any environmental damage.
Officers have doused the doomed boat with diesel and have thrown 2 incendiary flares on board, while the Indonesian fishermen look on in resignation.
The captain himself's a bit worried because the owner will not be very happy with the situation, but there's nothing that they can do about it, so they've basically resigned to the fact that now they're going to be taken back to Australia and will be dealt with by the courts there. So, but generally they're really well behaved and they've accepted their fate.
Back in Sydney, this coffee maker is either worth $50 or 2,000 times that much.
See this bulge there?
Yep.
It's not even actually flat. So just need to get the screwdrivers and get the bottom off.
Thanks. There we go. Thank you, baby.
Yes.
Bingo. Yes. Okay.
It's a good size. We just get one more swab of that.
Just want to have a look in there.
And then we'll hand that over to the Federal Police.
Yep.
As we have before, we've taken one just generally off the item. Now this time we're actually going to run it off the package that we found concealed inside the machine and see what reading this comes back for. And this time yet again, we've had another drugs detected reading for another very high reading of cocaine.
It's a good find for customs. Weighing in at just over 200 grams, this small package of cocaine could be worth as much as $100,000 on the street. Two days after being found 100 kilometres inside Australian waters, the crew of the illegal fishing boat are taken off the Corayo Bay at Gove in the Gulf of Carpentaria. 3 crew members were sent home. The skipper and 1 crew member were charged with illegal fishing and fined. The skipper was fined $5,500. Meanwhile, in customs, after a concealment of $7,000 was found in his bags, officers want to do a body search of this passenger, but he still won't allow it.
Personal opinion is it's a bit unusual, in fact, for the time period. If he has got nothing, he could have been out of the airport 5.5 hours ago.
The passenger's still refusing the search, to comply with the search, so now the Justice is going to make a decision on whether he orders the search or not.
Unfortunately for this stubborn passenger, his time is up because the Justice of the Peace has decided that Customs has the right to search him.
Mr. Lee has used all his legal rights up at this stage. He's been here for over 6 hours now. He's exhausted all his options, so he's pretty much run out. We've done as much as we can for him, so now the search is going to happen.
Has he got anything on his person?
我携带2万现金。
I have got 20,000 cash on me.
I must now caution Mr. Lee that he does not have to say or do anything, but anything he does say or do may be used in evidence.
As his family has been waiting for many hours, they will be told the grim news.
He's got 20 grand on him. Yeah. Right. So he's going to be referred to the AFP.
Right. Yep.
So you can tell him that, tell them that he is here, but he's with us, and we're still investigating.
Basically, if Mr. Lee had declared the currency on his way in to Australia, to customs, he would have been out of the airport now 7 hours ago.
It was really a battle of wills today. It was this gentleman trying to use the system and stop owning up to the fact that he had some currency not declared and concealed on his body. So his battle was to use the system as far as he could, and ours was to follow the procedures right to the end, and he took us to our limits and we took him to his.
There was a total of $7,000 in Mr. Lee's concealed wallet and a further $30,000 in his underwear. Mr. Lee pleaded guilty to failing to declare currency over $10,000. He was fined $2,000 and made to forfeit all the cash.